Go everyone, welcome to our first sort of student presentation for the semester. We've got another one of these in week 7 just before the break, and then another one in week 12. In those we'll be looking at academic writing techniques and editing. And for supervisors in the mid-semester break, we're going to have a workshop around marking of dissertations and theses as well, using the new rubrics, and that's going to be led by Dr. Pete Mulder. Just want to get through a couple of sort of core business items really to kick the semester off and get it started. Everyone should have access to a Moodle page that supports postgraduate research now, whether that be dissertation or thesis, and whether or not you be a student or staff member. If you don't have access to this, please just let me know and I can get you added as soon as possible. On there, you'll find appropriate resources for ethics, research supervision, and research process, along with drop boxes to submit drafts of your work and also to submit your work for internal examination. So plenty of resource on there, which we've lacked in previous years. And this will hopefully bring all that together. What I'm going to do now is just share some thoughts for the semester with you. But prior to diving into that, we'll just take a look at supervisory pairings for the year. So what you can see on this sheet is your name as a student, when you enrolled, and whether on what semester we're in, and whether you're taking a dissertation marked D or a thesis marked T. You have a primary supervisor who will be your main point of contact for the project, and they are dedicated 16 hours in their workload for you this semester. So that equates to an hour per week, but you may not need them every single week, depending on what your project is. And it's up to you to lead communication as a student and really lead the project. So they're there to assist you, guide you, get you to where you want to be, but you've got to bring the energy and bring the ideas to those meetings, keep good records of them, and push forward your research process as a starting point. Alongside that, you've got a secondary supervisor who's allocated 12 hours of time to help you. These normally have a PhD, and you can see all of these people do. So it's either Susie Belcher, myself, Russ Best, or in the case of Mona here, Glynis Longhurst. You can see that's echoed here. What the role of the secondary is a little bit more loose. They're there really for quality assurance, further guidance and support of that primary supervisor, and maybe bring some subject specific or skill specific knowledge such as statistics, proofreading, academic writing, safeguarding, ethics, that type of stuff. So help really in terms of quality assurance, and means that you get multiple perspectives on research as you go through this semester or this year, depending on what you're enrolled in. We'll just move into the presentation now. And some things to consider is really your research lens or your practice lens, because everyone's going to be doing research that either they're doing for the sake of their own inquisitiveness, or because it's something that's going to improve your practice and performance within it, or an area of your practice. So getting that clear link between your research question and the real world is key for you to have a positive and successful research experience, and particularly if you think beyond 2024 and how this maybe impacts you in terms of job prospects or furthering the current role that you're undertaking, etc. Right, so if we're in the face-to-face session, we do a meet and greet with supervisors and work through the course outline. I'd encourage you all to do that so you have a really strong understanding of the requirements for the program that you're enrolled on, or the program of research that you're enrolled on. Dissertation, we've got a much more condensed format this time round, just basically writing an academic paper and a presentation that accompanies that. And that presentation documents really the learning and your development that have occurred through the research process. So a bit different to a typical research presentation, which is intro, methods, results, discussion. We want to know a bit about what you found, but really why you did what you did and what you've learned as a result of that. And the thesis, we're looking for a much larger academic output really of about 15,000 words, made up of 3 or 4 chapters which document your study that you've undertaken, and further detail is available on that in the course outline. So we've got this 2 sigma problem that I just want to quickly introduce to you and gets you thinking a bit more about supervision and how to structure your research time this semester. This problem was really devised by Bloom and refers to the idea of 2 standard deviations, so using the Greek letter sigma here. The reason that we use sigma is that we've found with respect to educational achievement, under differing teaching practices, we see an increase in educational achievement based upon the style in which feedback and delivery takes place. So conventional learning in a conventional classroom environment, we see a normal distribution in terms of achievement, and that's exactly what this conventional curve is here. What we see if we adopt a mastery approach, whereby a feedback corrective method is employed, which is exactly what we're doing through multiple drafts of your work or a section by section approach to your research, is that your educational achievement improves by about 1 standard deviation, irrespective of the class size that you're enrolled in. Whereas if we go down a one-to-one tutorial type model, which is what we have through supervision, we tend to see academic achievement, which is 2 standard deviations above the mean in comparison to conventional teaching methods. That should make us feel real positive about the supervisory model that we've got, whereby you actually have a 1-to-2 ratio of student tutors. So you get to make the most of 2 people's knowledge, 2 people's experiences, and use it to enhance your learning, your research, and understanding of the question that you're willing to investigate this semester or over the course of this academic year. There are some other things that we can do to further enhance this, and we look at strategies such as cooperative learning. This might mean that as a supervisory team, we invite multiple students to have a similar meeting together to allow better communication and cross-pollination between those projects, particularly if the same information is going to be shared in those meetings. It's just more efficient to do that. Similarly, structuring your home environment is key, and how you learn and how you choose to write. Can't emphasize enough, like, improving your reading, study skills, and spending time on task. This is enough to bump you up 1 standard deviation in and of itself. And then using cues and explanations from our point of view as supervisors. And again, we can see this feedback corrective achievement accounting for a really high percentile of achievement. We'll do what we can to reinforce your achievement and good practices as you go. And this tutorial instruction is obviously pivotal to your success too. So plenty of things to consider, but all of them can move forward your likelihood of success and increase your chances of not just getting a passing grade, but getting a really good grade within your masters, which is great when we think about setting up examination and things like that, and potential employability beyond the program. So in terms of actions, please plan regular supervisory meetings. You need to prepare for them, participate actively within them, and push on off the back of those meetings. So what are my actions? What am I working on ahead of the next meeting? What am I going to go and look at, read, or implement in my testing environment this week? Are there any ethical constraints that I should be considering? Are there any validity, reliability constraints that I should be considering? And how do I best navigate these? For supervisors, where practical or practicable, make these group meetings of a supervisory cluster, so you're not having to spend double the time repeating the same information to more than one person, unless context requires that or availability requires that. And feel free to use other supervisors to support that, particularly your secondaries. And then let's really try and focus on getting some work done early, so we can employ this feedback corrective method to facilitate mastery and just make sure you've got a good quality product at the end of it. And if you can, students meet with others from the cohort or same supervisory cluster to share experiences and share your learning. How are you approaching problems? What things are you doing? How are you overcoming them? And just be there for each other, and we'll try and get this cohort feel going that we've lacked maybe in the last couple of iterations, and certainly through the pandemic. That's everything I wanted to share with you today. A bit of a whistle-stop tour, given that it's a recorded session instead of a face-to-face meeting, but look forward to seeing you all face-to-face at the next meeting in week 7.